Hey, welcome to Flight Test. I'm Eric.
And I'm Alex. And today we actually have the TBS Gemini, which is this awesome little racing hexacopter.
Yeah, and it is super tiny. I mean, these props are what, like 4-inch, I think?
Yeah, I don't even think this is considered mini. I think at this point it's getting into micro.
Yeah.
I think anything less than 220 is considered micro. It's built to carry a little Mobius, and we actually got a chance to go down to Florida to the CFL FPV meet. We're hanging out with the Get FPV guys and Charpu, Carlos. But before we get to that, why don't we check out the specs on this thing?
And specs. So we played Pass the Transmitter with this thing, and every one of us got to give it a whirl.
Yeah,
Peter, Josh.
Charpu, we wanted to give who better to test out a little racing hex than Charpu?
Good go.
Cool. This is, Alex, this is your first time. You haven't touched this thing yet.
I haven't even touched it.
Yeah, the only two people that have flown this is Peter and myself. And Peter, you dialed this in and actually put this together. What was your experience?
My experience was actually pretty good with this thing. It was pretty much dead simple. You open it up, you get going.
Yeah.
The only thing I had some struggle a little bit with was with the Tau Labs software. I'm not super used to the Open Pilot and all that, so it took a little bit to get used to, but now you guys will find it's fairly easy and intuitive to use.
Cool. Now you had to glue a couple little brackets right on the lower plate.
Yeah, that was
awkward, right?
That's my only real thing I don't like about it is the little mounting brackets. The way they did it, it's like a little piece of metal that you bend and you stick to the side, and it has little magnets on there. It's a pretty neat concept and all, but I feel the adhesive wasn't holding on very well to it.
Now you can take a Scotch spray and some alcohol, and you can scuff it and then dry it out. Where is it? Oh, there it is.
Here it is.
That's scary.
Sorry.
Human potato.
So you can scuff it up and use some alcohol to dry it out, and maybe that'll work a little bit better for you.
Yep.
Or try some different epoxy.
Electrical tape.
Electrical tape always
black.
works good.
This is pretty cool. Now this doesn't have, I don't have the camera angled, it's straight on, but it does have angled motor mounts. The motors are actually right onto the frame. It's like it's G10, right? I think it's G10.
Yeah, it's G10 and it's molded. It's actually molded and curved from the factory. It doesn't have shims in it.
So I'm not used to flying with a little bit up pitch in the camera, and that's what you get with these angled motors. Charpu's a little bit more of an expert in that category, but it's definitely locked in. The controls, and these are the controls that are right out of the box.
Yep.
They're really kind of agile. So that it's not really the best for getting like cinematic shots, but that's not what this thing is for. So it's pretty cool. I'm actually going to try to land here.
Nice.
So yeah, that was awesome. Very agile controls. It felt locked in. I didn't do it, but I felt like I could do some barrel rolls pretty quickly if I wanted to. Maybe we'll have to test that a little bit later. But actually, I want to get some more opinions. Eric's actually running camera back there. Eric, you want to give it a shot?
Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
Cool, man. I'll trade you. I'll actually film for you.
Hold this for you. So it's Eric's turn now. And one thing we did notice here is that the temperature, because of the lack of airflow, the Graupner has telemetry on it, and it actually is notifying us that there's receiver temperature. So it's because the ESCs and everything's very close.
This for a little 6-channel receiver, it's actually got telemetry for the actual temperature in the receiver.
Yeah.
So it is getting a little warm in there, but it's like
There's a squirrel running for dear life.
run away.
That's how you scare your squirrels away.
Yeah, definitely. This is definitely exactly what Alex was saying. It's very razor sharp in the way that it responds.
It just establishes a nice cruise speed, it looks like.
You're definitely not going to do aerial video with this as well as you would a normal machine, but you
doing
can
a nose
definitely.
in.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's very fast too. This is awesome. That's nice. It's solid. It's very responsive. It's so hard to talk and fly at the same time. Wow.
Especially since you've never touched it before.
Yeah. This is definitely the organic first time flying it.
This is one of the hardest things we ever do because oftentimes we get it. We don't want to just get a whole bunch of experience with it. We want to have a first time experience because that's what you guys are most likely going to have. So that's why you said that totally stock.
Yep, totally stock.
Dial it in. That way, if you guys do this, you got an idea of what you're going to do, and especially the price point of this is pretty high.
Yeah. It's a pretty comparable setup, but the thing actually performs as advertised, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, it's solid for sure.
And you can fly this off of a 3-cell setup, if I'm not mistaken,
Yep.
right?
They have a 3S option. I think it's a 3S 1300, and also the 4S 1050 is what's in it currently.
Okay, nice. Yeah, we're flying this with immersion, and this actually is not an immersion transmitter in here, is it?
It's a, I think it's something from Team Black Sheep. I'm not exactly sure what the origins of it are, but it's slightly different from the Vatra.
So you got a couple players in the FPV game. You have Boscam, immersion. Sometimes not all of them cooperate. You can fly from immersion, but you may not get the distance that you would if you actually have the proper video receiver.
And this is also set to PAL too, which is a different format. Most of our cameras in the US are NTSC.
Yeah.
This is a PAL camera. I'm not sure, but you can switch in the settings up, take a look at like that.
Okay.
But that is just another thing out there in case you can't use it.
That's nice. Well, I'm gonna land and let the next one in line give this a try.
I think I want to cut to the chase and have Charpu fly it.
Yeah,
All right.
well, let's have him get it light first. If there's anything left, we can play with it.
So we're on
Yeah.
14.7 volts.
So now it's Charpu's turn, huh?
All right, sir. Show me how it's done.
Oh yeah, it is really snappy. Huh? Oh yeah. I
there's
feel like
no-
I'll need to put a little bit of expo on this.
You want to land and put some expo in?
No, that's okay.
You sure?
It does feel really, really snappy. Like it will just flip the moment you need a very little amount of stick motion here. I'm used to have a little bit of expo on mine. Like, I mean, not a little bit, sometimes quite a lot, because it really smooths out a lot of the transitions when you're doing any kind of like hard maneuvers, you know?
When you're pulling the line, what do? What's your tips as far as?
Man, I really, like I come from a background of skateboarding and stuff like that.
Okay.
So to me, it's like just like feeling it. You go around and I mean, it's pretty important to fly around the area for at least a couple of flights. So this to me is new because it's a new machine and new area. So you feel a little insecure, but I just improvise, you know, as long as there's no people around.
Just let it rip.
You're doing
Yeah.
amazing.
I think with low, I
Yeah,
think with
what's
13
what
volts,
is that?
I'm gonna land.
Nice.
A little bit of expo will help a lot.
Why don't we swap out the batteries and do you want me to get you to the expo page?
Sure, yeah.
Carlos is mentioning that he wanted more expo. What expo is in the center area. The higher the expo, the more calm it is in the center, basically. So the softer it'll be, and that way you have the flexibility of getting full range, but when you're making small adjustments, it's not real twitchy. Well, we're going to do this with the Scraptor. We're going to touch function, we're going to touch dual rate, and then Aileron, what do you want your expos to be?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe we can go up to at least maybe 40. Try
40, let's do it.
That's quite a lot, but I don't know. I mean, since we're not pushing it that much, then it might be worth putting at least a 40 there.
So we'll go to elevator now. You want 40 on those two?
Sure. Yeah, 40 is fine. Another interesting thing is I'm so used to flying sitting down. Now when I stand up,
That's how I
You wanna
am
leave
too.
it on
I
the
can't
table?
fly
oh,
standing
this
up.
feels a lot better now.
Nice. So you can fly aggressively with a high amount of expo and still be okay, can't you? It's just more stick movement.
yeah, I mean, maybe we put a tiny little bit too much, but it definitely I feel a lot more comfortable now. It just helps me, you know, just have a little smoother of you know, turns and yeah, it feels a lot better. Oh, close to the ground there. Yeah, I think the throttle curve feels obviously different than what I'm used to on my QIV.
Yeah. So maybe if you didn't have 40 and maybe 30 would be a better number.
I think so. Yeah, it feels like it.
Yeah.
Just trying to punch it a little bit here. The problem is we're behind the trees there, but just to see the amount of thrust that I have and see how much I can push it.
And we want to give a
Go
big
through
shout
here.
out to Shredikit. As a matter of fact, what you're doing right now is what made Shredikit famous here. Shredikit is the gentleman who designed this frame, and he is known for punching through trees, going through some really tight areas, and just an amazing pilot. He's a designer of this, and so we want to put this through the test here and kind of copy some of the things that he did, because one thing he's passionate about is very tough frames as well too.
Yeah. Well, I can try to find some holes around here. Let's see.
So one thing I'm guessing is when you choose a hole, you commit to that, don't you?
Yeah, up here there's one. Woohoo!
Oh, nice!
Here, Josh,
What
I don't
else
want to
we
hog
have?
this.
No, I'm watching actually through Peter's
Oh, okay. I was
camera,
gonna say, let's share the wealth. This is awesome.
Yeah. If you guys are wondering why I'm looking away once in a while, we got a monitor here so I can see what they're seeing as well too.
And there's some wind out here. I can actually feel when he's coming through a corner. It's pushing him around a little bit. So
it is amazing.
Let's see, punch it a little more here.
Nice. Look at that.
this is awesome.
Let's see if I can find another. Oh, this one.
Oh, there you go.
Through.
Nice.
I gotta tell you, another thing I noticed too is you seem to be extremely comfortable flying when the video feed like flickers.
Oh yeah, man.
Oh,
that's
that
just,
freaks me out.
Yeah, I'm really used to that, and especially when we fly through buildings and stuff like that.
Sure.
You just have to be okay. It's just you gotta kind of believe on that it's not gonna crash. Oh,
Yeah.
little punch in there. So I don't know what kind of flying time we're getting. I think I'm 14.7 here.
Yeah.
It's pretty respectable. I think
Yeah.
you've been going around 3-4 minutes.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go through here a little faster.
This has a little, I'm gonna probably butcher the name, but it has a little miniature OSD. I think it's called the Power Core. That's actually embedded into this. And one neat thing about this is all the ESCs and everything, it's very serviceable. So say you bring out an ESC, you can actually desolder it and then actually just have a bank of these ESCs And also, it's all plug and play. So say you totally toast something, you can pull that whole brick off and drop a whole new control brick in there.
Yeah, it's even like the flight controller too. The flight controller actually goes into the thing. It's got header pins on it, so you can slide it in. So your flight controller gets busted up, grab a new one, stick it in there, and you can fly some more.
Whoa! We almost have a crash test right there.
I thought that was it.
We still need one durability test, so we gotta see it hit the ground.
Go down the
I'm gonna go
sliding
through
board.
here.
How awesome would that be?
Nice.
And then we go back. I mean, eventually we'll have to press maybe about here.
Nice. All right, we're gonna get it.
Perfect.
Nice job. That was awesome.
All right, so I think he either hit this or this.
Yeah.
But we've got a couple pieces
Oh,
here.
that's not too bad. Just broke a prop.
Broke a prop and
Frame is still okay.
cool thing about this is it's really squishy. Now, one thing, if you ever have any damage, especially the multi-rotor with an airplane, don't just grab the big pieces and run away.
Biggest mistake you could ever do.
Take a look around, look what's missing. Like, we're missing a little clip right here. By standing right here, we can kind of be like, okay, here's our playground, here's our area.
And SD cards. That's another thing.
Oh,
Like,
SD
SD cards
cards.
always get shot out of your cameras, or even your camera. Sometimes you might forget in the the heat of the moment and the panic. So look for your junk, pick it up, and get going.
Yeah,
Cool.
almost rebuild the project, rebuild the crash right there. Once you can rebuild it all, you know you have all the pieces.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what we got here back there. All right, so Peter, we covered the pieces. We talked about making sure we find all the
Yep.
pieces.
Make sure you find anything before you move on.
What's the synopsis here?
We broke a prop and three of the motor mounting studs. They're basically M2 size nylon bolts.
Yeah, and the purpose of the nylon is so it breaks free. So that way, if you have a hard hit, it'll actually break loose rather than stripping out your screw.
Or breaking an arm even worse. I gotta say, man, in the goggles, like I was watching in the goggles and I just seen this pole come right at us and hit. So I can't believe it didn't break anything more. It's
I mean,
pretty,
you guys were talking
pretty
about
strong.
let's crash it. So okay, I can do that.
Well, that was awesome.
That was awesome.
Great times with a great group of people, and actually, I was caught by surprise on how well this thing took the crash.
Yeah, because he hit pretty hard.
He hit a metal pole, and the only thing that broke were these little nylon screws, which is by design, that just pop off. And one thing we do want to mention too is when you're flying in a park like that, you will always want to make sure you have a lot of people with you, lots of spotters, so everybody who knows what's going on. So if you have pedestrians and stuff like that, you can be aware.
And even check for signs. Make sure that the park, even allows RC flight. You don't want to ruffle feathers that way. It's better to just be safe.
So all in all, I was caught by surprise. I like this thing.
Yeah, it flies well.
It's not for the type of person who likes to customize and DIY and scratch build your own little quad, but for somebody who's looking for something right out of the box that's going to perform, this thing will do it. And it's tiny. You can keep it with you at all times. All right, well, we want to thank you guys for watching. We also want to thank Audible.com for sponsoring this episode. If you go to audible.com/flight test, you can actually get a free audiobook download.
Yeah.
Have you been listening to anything like that?
Yeah, I actually did. I started my first one. It's The Purple Cow. It's a book on marketing and kind of taking business to the next level. And I'm not all the way through yet, but so far it's really an interesting read.
Nice. And Audible.com also has over 150,000 titles. So again, if you go to audible.com/flight test, you can get a free audiobook download. Cool. Well, I say we go put another 4-cell on this and
No
see what we
doubt.
can do
I
out
want to
back.
fly it with some expo this time.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.